I help you today?
I would like to book a new appointment for next week.
I have 2 openings next week, both on Monday, October 27th. The first is at 2:45 p.m. and the second is at 3:45 p.m. Do either of those times work for you?
Do you have openings on Tuesday?
Let me check for you. Yes, I have 3 openings on Tuesday, October 28th. There's one at 10 a.m., another at 2:30 p.m., and a final one at 3:30 p.m. Which of those would you prefer?
10 a.m. would be nice.
Great. So that's Tuesday, October 28th at 10 a.m. Could you please provide your full name and email address so I can book this for you?
Yeah, my name is Tamás Faragó. My email is tamastest@test.com.
Thank you, Tomas. Just to confirm, your name is Tomas Farago and your email is tamastesttest.com. The appointment is for Tuesday, October 28th at 10 a.m. Is that all correct?
Yeah, correct.
Excellent. Your consultation is now booked for Tuesday, October 28th at 10 a.m.
In this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up an AI appointment scheduling voice agent using ElevenLabs conversational AI. For the backend, we are going to use n8n, and we are going to connect our Google Calendar with it. So we won't need any third-party calendar integration such as Cal. We are going to use the native Google Calendar APIs. I'm going to share all the n8n workflows and templates in my resource hub that will be inside my School community. You can find the link in the description below, and I will also share it in the comment section. And if you don't know me, my name is Tamás. I have an AI consultancy. So if you need help with AI voice agents or AI systems, feel free to reach out to me through my website. So let's start working on this voice agent. The first thing you need to do is go to ElevenLabs.io, and we are going to open ElevenLabs conversational AI. Obviously, you need to create an account. I already did. So once you're in, you're going to see this page. This is where you will see all your agents. And you probably want to create a new agent for this. So I'm going to click on New Agent, and it will ask if you want to use any templates or not. I'm just going to click on Blank Agent, and we can give a name for the agent. I'm going to call it Eva Test. Then click on Create Agent. Once you did that, your agent has been created. And you can see that it doesn't have any configuration yet, so we need to provide a system prompt. This is where you will tell the agent how it should behave, how the conversation flow should look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in the system prompt that I already created. You will be able to find this inside my School community, but if you don't want to join, you can also just pause the video and copy the entire prompt. And once you have the prompt, you can click on Save. And what we also need to do is add the voice. ElevenLabs voices are quite nice. So what I recommend is opening this up, and there are a bunch of voices here, but if you don't find anything that you like, you can just go to Find More Voices, and you can select some filters. For example, you can select the language. Let's say if you want an English voice agent, you can select English. You can choose an accent, also the gender. But I'm not going to select anything now here. I'm just going to go back to the voice agent, and I'm going to select a default voice.
If you spend your whole life...
Jessica sounds good, so I'm going to select this. If you want multi-voice support, you can add another voice. For example, if you want to support Spanish, you can find a Spanish-speaking voice. And once we have that, we can click on Save. And now let's go back to the agent. We want to scroll down here, and we need to add 2 tools. So tools are extended functions that you can assign to the voice agent. So for example, we are going to use a check availability tool and a book appointment tool, and we are going to build them out in n8n. So what we need to do here is click on Add Tool, and we are going to create a new webhook tool. And this will be the check availability tool. For the description, we need to add what this tool's purpose will be. So what I'm going to say here is this tool's purpose is to check for available slots for the appointment. And I'm going to set this to post. And here we will need to add our server URL that we are going to create in n8n. I'm going to do that later. So we can scroll down a little bit. And for the query parameters, I'm going to add the tool call name. And we need to do this because later we will identify in the n8n workflow if it's a check availability tool or a book appointment tool, and based on that we are going to do specific actions. For example, in WebP it is sent by default through the tool call, but in ElevenLabs you don't have this information, that's why we need to add it in the query parameters. So for the description I'm going to add the name of the tool call. So once you have that, we can scroll down a little bit and we are going to add some body parameters. This will be the data that will be collected from the caller and will be sent to n8n. So for example, we would like to collect the preferred time. And for the description, we can add the preferred time for the appointment. And I'm not going to select required because initially we would like to suggest a free slot for the user. And if they don't accept it, they can suggest an appointment. So that's when we will send this preferred time to n8n. And once you have that, you can click on Add Tool. It looks like we need to provide the URL. So I'm going to open n8n and let's create a new workflow. And let's give a name to the workflow. I'm going to call it Appointment Scheduler. And for the first step, let's add the webhook node. Let's switch to production URL and also switch this to post. And let's copy the URL. We can click on save and let's go back to ElevenLabs and now we can paste in the URL here. So the tool will send all the information to this endpoint. And now we can click on Add Tool. It seems like we need to provide a description for the body parameters. I'm just going to say preferred time for the appointment. And now we can click on Add Tool. Cool, we have the check availability tool. And I would say let's also create the book appointment tool. So let's click on Add Tool and let's add another webhook tool. And let's call it Book Appointment. And we can keep the URL the same. And I want to change the description. And this will be, this tool will book a new appointment in the calendar. And now we can scroll down a little bit. Actually, we need to change this description and this will be the actual tool call name. So this will be Book Appointment. We need to go back to the check availability tool and change that as well. Before we do that, I'm going to finish this tool. I'm going to change the description for the body parameters. This will be users information required for the booking. And we can delete the preferred time and I'm going to add email. And let's say this will be the email of the caller. And we can scroll down and let's add another property. I'm going to make the email required. And let's add another variable, which will be the date time. And this will be the date and time for the appointment in the following format. And I'm going to paste in the format that we will need. It will look like this. And let's add another property, and this will be the name. So for the description, we can say the full name of the caller. And now we can click on Add Tool. You can see that the book appointment tool has been added, but as I said, let's go back to the check availability and we need to change the query parameter. So this will be check availability. And we can click on save. So now we've set up the tools. We can close this and click on save. So let's go back to n8n and activate the workflow. We are going to try out if the connection works. So what we need to do is click on Test AI Agent and I'm going to call it.
Hello, how can I help you today?
Hi, I would like to book a new appointment.
Certainly, I can help you with that. Let me just check for available slots for you. Please hold the line for a moment. I have a few openings for a real estate
Okay, it looks like it worked. So let's see what we received here. We have the tool call name, which is check availability. For the body, we don't have anything because we didn't provide a preferred date, which is expected. So I'm going to copy all this output and let's go back to the editor and we can pin all this data. So now we can start working on the n8n workflow, connecting everything with Google Calendar, so we will have an actual data that we can use. So what we need to do is add the switch node. And this will decide if it's a check availability tool or if it's a book appointment tool. So what I'm going to do is drag in the tool call name here. And if it's equal to check availability, then it's going to go this way to the first route. So I'm also going to add another route. You can click on add routing rule and let's paste it here. And if it's equal to book appointment, then it will go to the second route. So first let's start building out the check availability route. The next node we need to add is an if node, because I want to check if the user provided a preferred date or not, or if the agent is suggesting by itself. So what we need to do here is we need to check if the caller previously suggested a time. So I'm going to click on execute workflow now, so we will have all the data. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And inside the body field, we will have a preferred time when the user is suggesting an appointment. So what I'm going to do is drag this body here and let's add dot preferred time here. Currently it is undefined because we don't have a preferred time. So to check if this exists, we can open this up and go to string and select exist. So if you have a preferred time, it will go to this way. I'm going to click on execute workflow. You can see that it went into the false branch because we don't have a preferred time now. I want to start building out the case when we have a preferred time. So what I'm going to do is click on edit. And in the body field, I'm going to add a preferred time here, which will be Monday 9 a.m. And we can click on save. And if I click on execute workflow now, it will go into the true branch because we have a preferred time now. You can see it here, Monday 9 a.m. So what we are going to do is add the basic LLM chain. And the task of this node will be to check the available slots for the preferred day. So what we are going to do is click on this drop down and let's select define below. And here we need to define a system prompt. I already created one, so I'm just going to paste it here. So you can see that we define the current date and the task is to convert relative dates, for example, next week, Monday, 9 a.m. to a date string format like this. And we have some rules here. For example, when converting time, please apply an offset like this. And you need to adjust this based in the time zone you're in. For example, my offset is Europe Amsterdam, which is +1. You need to look up yours. So you need to find your time zone and also the corresponding offset. And once you have that, you can just modify this value here. And we also have the preferred time that we received from the webhook. And I also provided some output rules. For example, always set the start time to 9 a.m. and end time to 5 p.m. So what it does is that if it's next week Monday, it's going to check for that date, for example, 28th of October, and it's going to set the start time to 9 a.m. and the end time to 5 p.m. So to test it out, I'm going to close this and I'm going to turn on the require specific output format here. And I can just close this and let's add a model. I'm going to add an OpenAI model. 4.1 mini should be good. And for the output parser, let's add the structured output parser. And I'm going to paste in the expected output. So it will look like this. We will have a start date and we will have an end date. For example, 27th of October, 9 a.m. and the end date is 27th of October, 5 p.m. And you can see that we also have the offsets here. So let's close this and I'm going to click on execute workflow. Let's open it. And it looks like it worked, but I'm going to provide a different date. So we will make sure it works and it's not just because of the structured output parser. So I'm going to change this to Tuesday. Click on save and let's click on execute workflow. So it should output 28th of October and it worked. So we can close this and I'm going to rename this so we will know what it does. And the name will be check for desired day. Cool, we have this now and we can work on the false branch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and we just need to slightly change the prompt. So I'm going to paste in the prompt that we will need. The only difference is that in this case, they won't have a desired date, so we are going to check for the upcoming week. And you can see that we have in the task that output the date of tomorrow 9 a.m. and tomorrow plus 1 week 5 p.m. So it's going to check for the whole upcoming week for available slots. So let's just close this. And to test it out, I'm going to delete the preferred time here. And we can click on save. Let's click on execute workflow. You can see that it went to the false branch. And the date is 27th of October, which is Monday, and it added 7 days. So it works as expected. And let's rename this. So here the name will be check for upcoming week. And don't forget to click on save. So once we have these LLMs, we need to add a merge node. So we are going to merge these 2 branches into one. And once you have that, next we can connect our Google Calendar. And we need to find the check availability in a calendar action. And once you opened it, you need to connect your Google Calendar account. And to do that, you need to go to create new credential, and you can just sign in with Google. I already did it, so I'm going to close this. And once you have that, you need to select your Gmail. And I'm going to click on execute previous nodes. You can see that it already output some availability, so the connection was successful, but I'm going to delete the start time and also delete the end time. And I'm just going to drag the values from the merge node. Let's also drag the end time. And now you can see that it only output if that duration is available or not, but this is not what we want. And what we want to know is the exact slots that are booked. So let's open the add option. And I'm going to click on output format, and I'm going to select book slots. So if we click on execute step, it will output all the events that are currently booked. For example, 27th of October, 9 a.m., 28th of October, 11:30 a.m. Looks like it worked. So you can see that we have a booked appointment at 11:30, and we also have one at 1:15. And we also have that, so it works. Now we can close this. You can see that the output is 6 items. And what we want to do is from these 6 separate items, we want to make one big list. So what we need to do is find the aggregate node, and we're gonna aggregate all items into a single list. So if I click on execute workflow now, we can see that we only have one item, which will be one list. So it is much easier to work with this, because when we see 6 items here, that means that it's going to execute the node after this one 6 times, but we only want it to execute 1 time. So next we want to check if there's any booked slot for the specified interval. And to do that, I'm going to add an if node, and I'm going to drag in the first item from the data list. And let's open up the dropdown, and for the object, let's select is empty. So it will be true when there are no booked appointments at all. So when this happens, what we're going to do is send back a response to ElevenLabs voice agent and say that the slot is available. But before I do that, let's rename this. I'm going to call it if free. And if it's free, let's add the respond to webhook node. I'm going to select JSON, and let's just change this. I'm going to say result, and we can just send back that the desired date is free. You can customize the output response depending on your needs. And once you have that, I'm going to click on save. And for the false branch, what I'm going to do is add the code node. The reason we need this is that currently we have the booked appointment slots, And based on the book appointment slots, we need to figure out the free slots. And we could use an LLM for that, but in my experience, LLMs are not great with figuring out the available slots based on the book slots. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and we cannot afford to have an inconsistent data here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use code, because when you're using code, the output is much more reliable. So in this case, it's very important to have consistent data, because it's not great when we want to book an appointment in a slot that is already occupied. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the code that I already created. And I'm also going to share this code snippet inside my resource app that will be in my school community. If you don't want to join, you can just pause the video and copy all this. However, I recommend getting it from my resource app because it's quite long. And to get it, you will just need to get the n8n workflow, and this will be included inside that. So one more thing that you need to change if you're in a different time zone is the time zone offset. So once you have this code node, I'm going to click on execute workflow. And let's open this app. So now we know which slots are available. So for example, it says that the 27th of October, 2:45 p.m. is free. Yes, that is correct because this one ends at 2:45 and the next one starts at 3:45, which is correct. So this one works, this is reliable, you can use it if you want. We can click on save now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the respond to webhook node here. And I'm just going to keep this first incoming item here. So once you have that, you can go back to the first node, and I'm going to change this respond to using respond to webhook node. And once you have that, you can click on save. And now we can try this out. So I'm going to go back to ElevenLabs, and I'm going to call the agent.
Hello, how can I help you today?
Hi, I would like to book an appointment for next week, Tuesday.
Let me check the available slots for you. Please hold the line. I have 2 openings next Tuesday, October 28th, at 2:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. Which time works best for you?
Okay, it looks like it works. So let's see what happened in the execution. It sent back 2:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m., which is great. So now what we need to do is work on the book appointment branch. So it will be very easy. What we need to do here is add the Google Calendar node. And this will be very simple. We just need to look for the Google Calendar node and let's select the create an event action. You also need to select your calendar here. And to have some kind of data, I'm going to call the agent again.
Could you please tell me your full name and email address so I can book this for you?
My name is Tamás Faragó and my email is test@test.com. Okay, nice. It looks like it works. It triggered the book appointment tool. So we can just copy the data and let's override this. And here you can see that we have the email, the date time, which will be the 2:45 that are selected. And now we can use this data to create an event. So what we need to do is I'm going to open this webhook, and for the start date, I'm going to drag the date time from the webhook. And there is one trick that we need to do here, is we need to remove this Z, because this means that it's going to use UTC time zone. So what I'm going to do is use a JavaScript method, which will be .slice. And first parameter will be 0, and the second one will be -1. So you can see that this removes the last character from this string. And I'm also going to drag the date time here. And we need to do the same thing here. So I'm going to say .slice. First parameter will be 0, second one -1. What I want to do is add 1 hour to the start time, because my appointments will always be 1 hour long. So what we need to do is we need to format this string into a JavaScript date. So what we need to do is write to date time. And now we can perform operations in that date. Say plus curly braces, and I'm going to say hour 1. You can see that it added 1 hour. The start time is 2:45 and the end time will be 3:45. So it will create a 1-hour event for us. And to make the event nicer, I'm going to click on Add Field, and the description will be the email. I'm going to drag my email here, but let's switch to expression first. And let's also add another field, which will be the summary. So this will be the title of the event. And I'm going to drag my name here. And to the end, you can add anything. I'm going to add consultation. So now if I click on execute workflow, we will be able to see that it created an event in my calendar. And basically this is it. So don't forget to click on save, and now this n8n workflow is ready to be used. And this is it for today. I hope it was useful. And don't forget that you can get the prompts and n8n workflow inside my School community. I'm going to share the link in the description and also in the comment section below. And if you need help with building AI voice agents or AI automation systems, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to share my website's link in the description below where you can contact me, but you can always reach out to me inside my School community as well. Thank you for watching and see you soon.